To say the last couple of years has been tough for us PC enthusiasts looking to snag a fresh new graphics card is a gross understatement. New cards launched and availability was already tight, as it usually is with new releases. Then came the mining boom and other natural disasters that only served to constrain the supply chain even more. But on the horizon, a third player is coming to the gaming graphics card scene. Intel is poised to set free their multi-year project to bring dedicated gaming graphics cards of their own design to the world, and it might just be what the doctor ordered right now. PC enthusiasts typically think of Radeon or GeForce when gaming is mentioned, and usually chuckle a little when someone mentions gaming on Intel graphics. That response isn't unwarranted in all fairness, as the other two big boys have been working for nearly exclusively as dedicated gaming graphics card giants as long as gaming graphics cards have ever been a thing. Intel, however, hasn't quite had the same pedigree. Sure, Intel has onboard graphics going all the way back to the old graphics media accelerator days, but remembering a good friend trying to play Doom 3 on one still makes me laugh. And don't get me started about the failed Intel i7-40. But those were decades ago solutions, and things have changed. Now, Intel got a bit more serious on the graphics side of things back with the introduction of Sandy Bridge and their HD graphics, iterating like clockwork. Then a few years ago, the company announced its own dedicated division and moved forward with launching Xe-LPG, a media-focused graphics card with some really weird caveats. It could only run on a handful of motherboards, none of which included AMD-powered systems, and was almost impossible to get for the DIY market. But that wasn't the Xe GPU intended for gamers. That card will be codenamed Xe-HPG and is now known as Intel Arc, with the debut lineup called Intel Arc Alchemist scheduled to launch in early 2022. How will Intel convince gamers to go with their gaming graphics card over the likes of well-established brands like GeForce and Radeon? Well, Intel is making Arc Alchemist just as attractive as currently available graphics cards with creature comforts that even I didn't expect at first. We're talking DirectX 12 Ultimate compliance with mesh shader support, variable rate shading, and even hardware-based ray tracing. All of these are excellent features to include in Intel's first outing in the modern GPU space. I mean, outside of DLSS, of course, as that will remain NVIDIA's trump card for the time being. But did you know that Intel will have an answer for DLSS? And it could even be better answer than AMD's Fidelity FX Super Resolution. Now I'm talking about none other than Intel's XeSS or Xe Super Sampling. Now, XeSS is Intel's approach to solving the upscaling problem with a technique that pairs machine learning with temporal feedback. It allows the game to run at a sub-native resolution and then reconstruct it to a target resolution in much the same way DLSS does, but without the need for dedicated tensor cores to do the reconstruction. Yes, XeSS will work better on Intel's Tensor-like XMX cores, but it can also run on DP4A or INT8 instructions that are found in the GPU shader cores on most modern graphics cards. Okay, so what's the big deal, you may be thinking? It sounds like a closed-off ecosystem like NVIDIA's DLSS. And that's where you're wrong, kiddo. The truth is, Intel knows it's behind the 8 ball when it comes to market share. Sure, it owns the integrated scene, but that doesn't mean much when it comes to dedicated GPUs. Convincing developers to work with proprietary systems for an audience that currently has 0% market share is a recipe for disaster. So, Intel isn't doing that. XeSS is able to work with GeForce and Radeon cards alike so long as they support those DP4A or INT8 operations. Now, all of that sounds absolutely great, but we know gamers right now have three major concerns when it comes to Intel Arc. 1, what kind of performance are we talking about? 2, what's that performance going to cost us? And 3, how is it even going to be made in the current market conditions? Now let's break down those three real quick, starting with the performance targets. Right now, no one outside of Intel knows with 100% certainty, but according to Gordon's article at PC World, the performance has been hinted at it being around 20x that of the original Intel Crystal Well graphics. And by Gordon's own estimations, that could land it in the ballpark of an RTX 3070. Well, secondly, pricing. Now, I'm not even going to pretend to have an idea here on this one because there's so many moving parts in the world today that even predicting a price would spell disaster for expectations. Now, Intel could, however, go one of three ways. One way is to aiming to be a loss leader and completely disrupt the market by releasing the Arc GPUs at or near their cost, especially if the company doesn't have too many board partners helping make cards at first. A second option could simply be pricing Arc competitively with comparable graphics cards already on the market and just letting the chips fall where they may. And third, which is the one that I hope the company avoids, is releasing Arc at a premium and trying to upsell it on the Intel pedigree and name alone. Please don't do that, Intel. And finally, we have the who is actually making it question. Well, Intel may have its own fabs, but the company won't be giving up space in those for the Intel Arc lineup. Instead, these graphics cards will be made at TSMC. That's right, you heard correctly. TSMC, the huge fabrication company that supplies chips to AMD, Nvidia, Apple, and other Intel rivals. But with AMD gobbling up all the 7nm wafer supply that they can get their hands on, the other vendors are chomping at the 5nm flavor. Intel is shooting for TSMC's 6nm supply. So we know the manufacturing efficiency will be there. Let's just hope Intel is able to get enough supply to satiate the demand. So with all of that, we have gone through a bit of history with Intel and its graphics efforts over the years, both wins and failures, that have brought us to the precipice of its launch into the dedicated gaming graphics card space. We've discussed how Intel is leveraging its expertise in design and development to push its own technologies, as well as being compliant with DirectX 12 Ultimate. And we've talked a bit about my expectations for what Intel could deliver and how. But that's about it where things stand now. I suspect with Intel Arc Alchemist launching early next year, we should start seeing even more from Intel in the coming months. While its graphics division is its own entity, I imagine Intel proper is gearing up for their Alder Lake launch, and then we'll be switching gears and going full steam ahead. If you enjoyed this discussion around the upcoming Intel Arc Alchemist dedicated gaming graphics card line, let us know by hitting the thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed here at PC World for even more PC hardware and gaming goodness.